So I just got one of those messages where it's like, you want to become a better man? Like, like, I can help you. Makes me want to vomit in my mouth. It's fucking nauseating. And I can imagine that, coming from somebody like me who's about, personal and spiritual development and everything and, coaching, it's like, well, isn't it good? I tend to go deeper into stuff, and that's just what's important to me. You ever, like, look at your life? It's funny because, like, what I just said, it's kind of like somebody sees you and they see that you're struggling, they see that you're having a hard time, right? And they're like, hey, partner, you having a hard time? I can help you out here. I don't know why I sounded like that. But it's like, you ever look at your own life, right? Your own, not just like your life altogether, but like your life situation. And you ever ask yourself, like, how you got there, right? Like, it's what the mind would label as negative, right? Like, you're not happy. You're actually very unhappy. You've got anxiety, you've got depression, you've got all that shit, right? But you ever, like, look at your life situation and you ask yourself, you're like, oh, shit. How the fuck did I get here, right? It's like when you go into the forest, right? At some point, you've walked far enough into the forest, but you forgot to do something. You forgot to leave traces of how you got in there, right? You forgot to basically create a path that, like, if you were to turn around, you would be like, oh yeah, that's how you get out. That's how I get out of here, right? It's like you walked into the forest, but you don't know how the fuck to get out, right? So when you blame society for your unhappiness, I spent a lot of my life doing that, just like looking outside of myself and, kind of doing the, like, fuck you, that kind of shit, just thinking that everyone else was responsible for the shit that I felt on the inside. And then I just basically looked at that and I was like, yuck. Like, the world is the world, right? The society is society. And it's just not the way that I wanted to do things. When you blame society for your own unhappiness, with everything that I've learned about boundaries, it has actually become, I guess the word is prevalent, right? It's actually become prevalent that somebody who would blame society for their own unhappiness, it has something to do with boundaries, right? Specifically, either a lack thereof, meaning no boundaries at all whatsoever, or permeable boundaries, right? So what I'm doing for myself, and this is part of the reason why I decided to make this video on the subject of blaming society for your own unhappiness, is because, and this is actually something that I've been really seeing in myself, especially something that I really want to, like, correct and heal within myself moving forward. It's both simple and complex. I've spent a far majority of my life attaching my own sense of, like, happiness and fulfillment and joy to external things, people, and events in life. And, I don't think that it's hard to do that. I think that as people, as creatures, we have a tendency to do that, right? Like, I mean, let me just make this very clear. we've pretty much learned that it's like we can't be happy until something out there changes, until something comes into our life, until someone comes into our life. And this is why, like, the very first thing that I said in the beginning of this video, like, hey there, partner, does your life suck? Do you want to be a better man? Do you want to be more of a man? You're not manly enough. Let me help you. Oh my God. You know what I say to that? Fuck that. It's bullshit. It really is. I mean, people can believe whatever the fuck they want, but, you know, I personally see life as being a lot deeper than that. And so, like, you know, like I was saying before, I was looking at my own life and I was like, oh wow, I've been blaming society for my own unhappiness. I've been, like, making them responsible for it, right? I've been making everyone out in society responsible for it. But the more that I heal, the more I see this as more of a issue of boundaries, right? And so, like, this is something that I've been focusing on a lot lately. And, like, I see it and it's like, okay, well, throughout my life, I've been externalizing my sense of fulfillment, my sense of joy, my sense of happiness, right? And again, like, we've learned to do that. We've learned to, like, wait for things out there to fulfill us, to make us happy, right? But something that I've been doing recently that I've noticed has been, like, really cool is I've been, like, in social situations, I've been setting boundaries with people, right? Like, normally in the past, I used to take on people's energies and let it mess me up, like, hardcore. But now, like, what I'm doing is I'm like, you know what? Chris can have a fucking fiesta all the fucking time, right? He can have a great time. He can have a party inside of his fucking body. He can be feeling fantastic, and that's fine. He doesn't have to take on everyone else's energy, so there's the fucking boundary, right? And so now that I look at it, it's like, well, I've been relying on external events, things, and people throughout my entire life to fulfill me, to bring me happiness, to bring me joy. That's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. However, when I set that boundary and I look at society and I'm like, you guys aren't responsible for my happiness, that then brings the power back on to me, right? And that makes me look at myself and ask myself, well, what do I need to do for myself to change the fucking dynamic? Because let me just say this real quick. I've spent plenty of fucking time waiting for things outside of me to make me unhappy. I've been waiting outside of myself. I've spent a lot of fucking time and energy waiting outside of myself. Waiting actually takes energy. Waiting outside of myself for things, people, and events to make me happy. I don't want to live that way anymore. Like, I'm going to be totally honest, that shit fucking sucks. That's not a cool way of living. I don't like that, right? And so, it wasn't until about, like, 5 years ago when I started meditating. Well, I mean, I didn't start meditating back then. It was even longer than that. I think, anyway. You know, I started meditating on the idea that, like, all right, well, joy, I've felt that before. I know what that feels like. I can generate that within myself, right? So I kind of, this is the whole matter of, like, finally, like, finding a trace of a fucking crumb in the forest of, oh, I came from that way. I know how to get out of here, right? So it's like, all right, you can feel chronic stress all you fucking want. You can blame the fucking world and society for all this bullshit that you're feeling inside of yourself. But guess what? It probably has a lot more to do with your fucking childhood than anything else. And so, like, I look at it and it's like, all right, well, how do I get myself out of this, right? That's the question. I got myself into the fucking forest. I got myself into the fucking darkness. All of these trees are so fucking intimidating and giant and they're scaring the shit out of me. I want to get out of here. Not really. Trees are gorgeous. So I need to figure out how to get the fuck out, right? I got myself into stress. I got myself into anxiety. I got myself into depression. How the fuck do I get out? Hold on. Heal childhood trauma. Heal childhood trauma. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Get on with it. So when you blame society for your own unhappiness, it's a massive issue of boundaries, of thinking that you need to wait for things, people, and events outside of you to make you happy. And also of not recognizing that the shit that you feel is just a result, usually, of patterns that are repeated from childhood, that once you actually heal that and change the behavior, all that shit changes. Other than that, you can actually generate all of these beautiful fucking feelings within yourself. Dr. Joe Dispenza, shout you out, my guy, yes. That's really how it works. Like, you heal the story of everything from childhood, and then you start to generate the because you felt it before. You felt I cannot imagine that you have not felt happiness, joy, excitement, euphoria, love, ecstasy, all that stuff at some point in your life. You know what it feels like. All you need to do is feel it again, right? And then you're bringing the power back on yourself, and then everyone else looks at you and they're like, holy shit, right? And then it's just fucking awesome, right? And then you become attractive. You become more attractive because you're taking your power back onto yourself, and you're like, yeah, motherfuckers, I know how to do this. And then everyone else is like, teach me. And then you're like, you already have it, right? But that's the thing, like, it's really not attractive to blame society for your unhappiness, because your unhappiness is probably not society's fault, right? If it's anybody's fault, it's probably within your family circle, right? Due in your childhood, right? We repeat patterns from childhood growing up. So set that boundary with yourself and society. No, society, that's not your stuff. That's mine to take on. I need to fix this. I need to do my shit. I need to take care of myself, right? And then you empower yourself, and then you become an example, right? And then you're not blaming society for your unhappiness anymore, because you're taking your power back. You're not like, oh, I can't do this. I'm so unhappy. What the fuck? Fuck all of you. No, like, that's fucking lame. It's fucking lame. Take your power back. Realize that society is not responsible for the shit that happened to you. Heal your shit. Take care of yourself. And that's how it works, you know? It's really not rocket science. It's not. Just realize that there's an origin for everything. You can get yourself out of the fucking forest. Just find the fucking crumbs and be like, oh shit, it's right over there, right? And then that's it, right? You can reverse engineer the whole process. Just understand what it requires, right? And then you're just like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. And then you are empowered. Then you choose differently. You experience differently. Fuck yeah.